Hello there, you beautiful soul. Welcome back to another Culture Talk segment with your host and founder of Cultured Society. My name is Rebecca Munoz, and I am here with another beautiful and special guest today to talk about life philosophies, culture, experiences, and all things manifestation and all the beautiful experiences that are happening in our life today and every day moving forward. So I have had an opportunity to interview already 50 guests. So this is my 51st guest on this podcast series. And I didn't imagine that it was going to unfold the way that it did, but it has been so magical and such a blessing to be able to connect with beautiful souls around the world that are making waves on this planet. And although there's so much turmoil and chaos that is happening in our world today, I like to say that where focus goes, energy flows. And I like to focus on all the positive things that are happening in this world because we all have the capacity to create our own personal heaven on earth. And that is what I'm currently doing now to facilitate, just a lot more of a positive experience for people as we continue to move forward and step into what I like to call a new earth. So today I'm here with Jessica Mauderer, who is living in the Kansas City area. How far are you from Kansas City, Jessica?
That's about 20 minutes to downtown.
Okay, 20 minutes. All right. So
Yeah.
Jessica and I had an opportunity to connect through a mutual friend through Facebook, which I absolutely love. A lot of people think that, social media can be really negative and, there's not a lot of space for connection, but I beg to differ because you can definitely use these social media platforms as a means to connect authentically, as well as utilize these platforms to build an amazing business, network, or do whatever it is that is going to create more positivity in this world. So Jessica was born in Kansas City, Missouri in 1981, the oldest of Alan and Louise Kihn's 3 children. Her family lived in Belton, Missouri through her school age years. She began playing volleyball in middle school and loved the sport from the very start. She accepted a 2-year scholarship and attended Longview Community College, where she received her associate's degree in arts. She transferred and graduated from the University of Missouri in 2004 with a bachelor's in finance and banking. She worked in the banking and financial services industry for 16 years. She now teaches others how to experience more joy, love, and laughter by helping them transform their life mentally, physically, and financially, all while becoming 10 feet tall and bulletproof, letting nothing stand in their way to becoming the best version of themselves. And so I am so honored and so grateful that Jessica has agreed to exchange energy with me today to talk about her experiences and how she views the world and how these experiences have allowed her to get to this place that she stands in today. So if you have been with me through these conversations, you will know that all the questions that I ask these guests are pretty much the same. However, we are all having a completely different life experience. And so we are going to open up the space for our guest to speak their truth. And regardless if you have the same life philosophies, experiences, background, it doesn't really matter because we are here to create space and to extend unconditional love to these people that are experiencing and sharing their vulnerabilities with the world. So with this, Jessica, I introduced this life philosophies and experiences conversation with the first question. What is your life's philosophy?
So first of all, I'm so grateful for being here. So thank you again for the invitation. Such a privilege. I feel like the philosophy of my life is just living your best life. You're who you're called to be, speaking your truth. And at the end of the day, we're all servants. So how can I serve others? How can I help people? If you're listening, how can you serve others? How can you help people? And at the end of the day, you have to be happy. Health is so important, especially right now. Here we are, and I don't know if you still consider us in a pandemic or whatever you want to say, but the world needs health so much. So educating people on that is so important. at the end of the day too, I feel like if you're not operating your highest values, then you don't feel congruent and you feel out of balance, all of that. So that's what I would say.
That is such a beautiful philosophy to live by, because just like you said, we are all servers. We are all world servers. And if we're not serving ourselves first, we definitely don't have the capacity to serve others. And it's such a beautiful thing that you have come to that conclusion in this day that you're living in today. Now, tell me, how has that philosophy evolved for you through the years?
It's been interesting because I'm a type A personality. Like, I'm a driver. Um, I don't consider myself someone who's selfish, but sometimes my own goals, dreams, ambitions, like sometimes I get right-sized pretty quickly by God. I'll just say that. Like, I have to humble myself and be like, okay, God, I like had this goal, and today it's snowing right now in Kansas City, and there's a lot of snow on the ground. And as I told you, like, it's a snow day, so that means my kids are home, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and my husband's working from home, and we planned this like weeks ago, not knowing all of that would happen. And so, like, I took some like happy stuff this morning, because I'm like, I've got to get in a different mindset. I'm sharing on this podcast today. Like, I need to be in a different mindset, not from like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But how can I serve others, and how can I be a light for those? And maybe it's a mom who's, struggling with just her own mental health. Maybe it's an entrepreneur who's struggling just to make the income. Maybe it's someone in corporate America who's like, I just want to be home with my kids. Whatever that is, like, I don't really know who and how I'm going to be a light for someone, but the Bible study I had today was dare to be different. And it's so true today. I'm like, I needed to hear this message this morning. So dare to be different, right? Be that light in a dark space. And that's what they were talking about this morning. So the perfect message for today.
Oh, that is a perfect message, because like we mentioned earlier, we are living in a time right now where there's so much uncertainty. There tends to be a lot of war going out, around us. And it's really important for us to really focus on all the positivity, and also to stay present in what's actually happening in the vicinities of our personal world. And when you recognize that you have more control of how you experience or how you perceive the world, you have the capacity to really shift your perspective on what's happening. And adaptation is so important, wouldn't you agree? Because everything
Yeah,
pivot
quickly, right?
Pivot quickly, exactly. I mean, things are changing second by second. And really the only constant that we have in life is change, but we don't necessarily, as a humanity, right? We don't have sometimes we tend to have a lot of resistance when it comes to change. And it's like, no, like, we got to consistently like be like with it, right? Consistently changing. And it's so beautiful that you have that perspective to not only shift yourself in the process, but to be always at that place where you're wanting to serve and help others shift their perspective on what's happening. Now, I like to think that there's this quote that says, we are the sum of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. It's so important for us to recognize that our circle of influence is our personal choice. We may not have been able to choose our family per se, even though we did sign a soul contract before we came into this human experience. But as we evolve through our human experience, we do technically have a choice on who we spend our most time with. So how has your circle of influence and upbringing influenced the way that you live and think today?
It's so interesting you say that, because I feel like through the years, I was very introverted. I'm tall, I'm 6 foot tall. So I stood out. So that dare to be different. Like, it wasn't always like I didn't have to try to be different. I was already different. But it also gave me just a different perception on things too. And I feel like there were times when I realized I was outgrowing friends, outgrowing people. The pandemic definitely showed me that when everything shut down, and I had the space then to realize where I was spending time, how I was spending my time. Because I can be that yes person that says yes to everything. And then later I'm like, oh my gosh, I just overcommitted to everything. Um, and so I try to say yes to opportunities, but then I also like avoid certain things too. Like it's something like, it's actually like it's not the fear of failure. It's more the fear of success. Like, what if my light shines so bright that I outshine, and then those that are in my, family and friends, they get uncomfortable with that, and I lose those people. So I don't want to lose people, but I also know that my circle is constantly growing. And they always say you don't want to be the smartest in your group, that you want to be like, not the dumbest, but you want to be surrounding yourself with people who are up leveled even more than you are. And so I constantly do that. I just actually, right before I got on this Zoom with you on this call, podcast, whatever you want to call it, I actually was on a huddle with about 30 people from all over the country. And I feel like it's like surround yourself with the five people, but it's kind of like 30 people in my mornings daily. And they're all uplifting and positive and encouraging, but not everybody has that. It's so sad to see, like, sometimes people are so lonely and they don't have a good circle of people, and people to, pour into them. And I mean, that's how I fill my cup in the morning, as I listen to this huddle, and I'm a part of that huddle, and I lead it sometimes. And there's just so much value in that. But yeah, it is important to surround yourself, because I look at, for instance, I have one family member I know of, and for certain, that surrounded themselves with a quote unquote bad action group. I don't like to say bad people, bad action group. And that took them down quickly. Bad behaviors, jail, you name it. Right. Whereas I chose a different circle, or a different circle chose me. I'm not quite sure how that worked out, but I just feel really, really grateful for that, because my story was a lot different. And they always say, change your story, change your life. Right. So yeah, some of these stories and some of these things that have happened in our past, and things that, we don't really realize the path that we were on at that time, but were leading us to bigger things, and kind of go from there. I mean, when all my friends didn't drink in high school, I didn't drink in high school, but someone who surrounded themselves with people who drink in high school, underage drinking, that could be a part of their life. Right. So that peer influence. Yeah. So I feel like that. And as an adult, the 5 people you spend your most time with, like, they can speak negativity in your life or positivity in your life. They can uplift you, or they can push you down. I know our common friend, she speaks such great things into me, and I do the same for her. And we're such lights for each other. So I'm so blessed to be able to connect with you too.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And it's so true. My mom used to engrave this scripture it's a very simple scripture, but bad company corrupts good character. And that stuck with me throughout my life. And it's so simple yet so profound when you really think about how we're constantly exchanging energy with each other, right? So if you place yourself in negative environments, that energy, if you're not strong enough, is going to infiltrate your energetic space, and you're going to become that. That's why environments are so important. Work environments are so important. What you put into your body is so important. How you feel your mind every day is so important, because you technically have control. We are the architects. We are the creators of our life experiences. And if we're placing ourselves in environments that are not conducive to our overall well-being, we are going to become that. So I'm so glad that you surround yourself with people that pour into you, because that's what you become, and that's what you pour out, and that's what people need. Especially now, it is so important. So, I mean, you pretty much answered this, but do you believe that your line of work infects our society with positivity?
Absolutely. Yes. 100%. 110%, actually 110%, because I feel like it's, like, if you're a really bright person, shining positivity. It's like that 110% right now, especially because there's so much other darkness in the world. And so it's like, you almost have to do 110% to like cover up that darkness. Is so much trying to come through the world right now.
Absolutely. And when you were, and this goes into my next question, do you believe that your line of work is aligned with your calling and higher purpose?
Absolutely. Yes. I went through actually a class at my church that was all about finding your purpose and your calling. And it actually went through your storylines and helped you come up with 2 words that describe you most, which mine are empowering freedom. And then words to describe that. So mine is helping people live abundant lives through more time, money, health, travel, giving. And then there's like other storylines. So like hope and faith is one for me. Then passionate connector, then kingdom builder, and then savvy adventurer. Sorry. I'm like, I usually have it in front of me. Savvy adventurer. So those are like my daily like rhythms that I, like do, or, like take action in or be present in, that are part of my life and my calling and my purpose and my vision, from a 90-day vision to a 1 year to a 3 year.
So when did that shift for you? Because you were working in the corporate realm for many years. And so when you transitioned from corporate to now what you're doing currently, how long ago did that shift for you? When did that start to really like make sense for you? And what happened during that time that made you do that pivot?
So in college, actually, I got a book called Purpose Driven Life. I never really read in college. I mean, I went to college, but I didn't really read a ton other than my school books. I didn't read outside of that. So I didn't read the book. Maybe I've read a couple pages. Then fast forward to, I was on maternity leave in August of 2016, September of 2016. And I picked up the book and started reading it because I kept hearing the book and I'm like, I think I have that book. And so somehow I don't remember how exactly, but I started reading it. I started praying. I started writing down like what I wanted my life to look like as a new mom. I struggled with infertility for 2 years, what I wanted my day to look like, my life to look like. And, really just praying about it and thinking about it and like all of that. And so as I was reading that book, I was doing that. And I had finished my maternity leave and I'd returned back to work. And I have a newborn. I dropped her off at daycare. Like my heart's like every day, like torn because I want to be with her and all of that. And I go to work and it's a Monday and I walk in my office and my boss has packed my office up and she's like, we no longer need you anymore. And I said, okay, that doesn't look good. So I just said, okay, do you mind if I ask you why? And she's like, our goals no longer align. Like, okay, like that's the reason. So I just like felt this huge, like I had 100 pounds weight on my shoulders and this like weight lifted and I felt so free, so alive. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what I've been praying for just happened. And I'm like, some people would be, like devastated, right? I was like, oh my gosh, like this just happened. I like went in the bathroom for a second. I cried for a second. And then I called my friend Amy, who I was surrounding myself with every single day. I had a call with her, a coaching call. And I was like, remember that plan we had, to be able to stay home with my daughter? It's go time. I just lost my job. And she's like, what, you did? And I'm like, yes, I did. And so that was day one. So that was December of 2016, right before Christmas. I remember it because it was right before Christmas. I remember people asking me like, oh my God, what are you going to do? I'm like, what do you mean? What am I going to do? Like, I already know because I've been planning this for months. Like God has given it to me. And then during that time, being a stay-at-home mom and have my online business and everything and I finished my book and all these things. And so I got invited to that course at church. And so I was like, okay, anyway, I just loved it because it had goals it was all about, it had goals in it. It had your life purpose and your passion. And then I went through my storyline. And I was seeing like how these things God had, as people always say, life happens to you or for you. And like these things happened for me so that I could, because I wasn't quitting the job. I don't quit things. I wasn't going to quit the job. I'm very a loyal person. And so I didn't want to quit the job. I felt like I needed the security of that. And so when I, got fired, I was like, okay, now it's my time. Like I either sink or I swim. And I'm like, I don't sink, I don't quit. And I'm just going to swim. Like I'm going to swim fast. I'm going to swim hard. Like I'm going to do whatever it takes. And here we are. Madison's 5, Paisley's now 3. So now I have a 3-year-old too. And so I can't imagine a different life. Like today, it's a snow day, them being home, and, just having the flexibility to do whatever we want today.
Yes. Oh, that's so great. And, again, that resistance, right? In our human experience, like we think that going to a 9-to-5 job, which there's nothing wrong with that if you do that.
Yeah.
However, think about it. Do you really want to work for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week for 40 years to get 40% of what you worked for your entire life? And then oftentimes, like, it's really, you spend your entire life working and you think, I'll start my life when I retire. But then by the time you retire, you're so exhausted. And you don't even get to do all the things that you planned to do with your life, right? And sometimes you have to have the rug pulled from underneath your feet in order for you to do something different. And whether you feel like your life is falling apart during that process, it's actually coming together, and it's really accelerating your process to get to that higher purpose so much quicker. And it's so uncomfortable, isn't it?
I mean, at first it was, but like, I feel like in 2 seconds, it was like not uncomfortable anymore. Like, I was like, oh my God, so free. Right now, what was the most uncomfortable was going back to work after I've been on maternity leave, because I've been living that best life, right? I was on maternity leave. I had my daughter that I've been praying for 2 years. I had my husband, I had, the house, I had all those things. And then I had the freedom, but then having to go to work, with this newborn and having to go in that, it was miserable. And so, so I was like ready to work. And it's so crazy because like I talk to people, in our group and stuff, and they're like, oh, I just, didn't get anything done today. And I'm like, I made a vow, to God, really, to myself, that when I got fired from that job, when I was in freedom, that I was going to, first of all, not turn on the TV, wasn't going to be a couch potato, right? Like I didn't want to go to work. So, to go to work for someone else and be in that same environment of 30 to 40 hours again. I wanted to create my own life. And so I was going to go to work for me and my dreams and the people I was meant to serve. And so that's kind of what, and based on that too, it's interesting. The number that I've been given, it was 150,000 people that I'm going to be impacting. So I'm not sure how I'm supposed to keep track of that, or if I can even keep track of that. I'm like that person that wants to keep track of it. But I also feel like I don't really know the impact. Like you don't always know it, especially now with social media. You have no idea. But I just want to, impact a lot of people. Like it's not just 1 or 2. The most important people that I want to impact are my daughters, because I feel like they're the next generation, of people, that, the society of the up and coming, right?
Yes.
And I can make such an impact for them.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so beautiful, Jessica. And it's, it's amazing sometimes that as women, we don't think that we have the capacity to impact at a grander scale like that. But God really has given us such a grand capacity, especially, the fact that we are able to birth humanity, right? And the fact that you're a mother and that you're in a state of service and that you're helping people with their most valuable asset, which is their body, right? To be able to get in a healthy state holistically, mind, body, and spirit. And then also, the the part that we oftentimes don't take into consideration as a part of our wellness is our financial wellness. Our financial wellness is so important. I mean, it's the driver. It's the driver of everything that we do. It's the tool, it's the resource that we use in order for us to live our best life, right? And so it's so valuable what it is that you're doing. And I'm so grateful that, women like you, are aligning and doing the very thing that God has created you to do. It's so beautiful. Now, how would you say that you stay relevant, unique, and true to who you are as a person?
So daily, I read the Bible. I mean, I used to think that reading or listening to podcasts and other people was where I needed to get my message from, fill my cup up. But at the end of the day, like I was really, and just even my worth, all of that. Right. And so that's one of the things I do daily. And then I also, read some devotionals and pray and do gratitude and affirmations. But I feel like that's how and read over like my life plan, right? This mission, these goals, I read those daily. Because it's like, okay, every day when I get up, today it changed, right? Like it's snowing, the kids are out of school, my husband's working from home, like all of these things in my environment. I'm like, what just happened? But I'm like, I'm like, okay, this is what I had. This is what I do. And I realized if I don't take specific actions towards those things, moving my body, drinking water, simple things sometimes, but simple to do or not to do. If I don't message people to ask them to hear about what I'm doing, if I don't make social media posts, some of these things that to be a voice for people, to encourage them, to uplift them, then I'm staying small, and that's what the enemy wants.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good. Now, have you always been a believer?
No.
When did that change for you?
So in high school, when I was young, we didn't go to church. If I stayed with a friend, we might stayed overnight with a girlfriend, we might go to church if their parents went to church. But it was, so I was introduced to different churches as I was growing up, just with friends and family and things like that. And then, I remember my mom trying to get me to go to her church, and, they live a couple hours away. And I was like, I'm a totally different person than these people are. Anyway, so I just felt really uncomfortable. Cause I'm very much 50-50 husband and wife. My husband changes diaper, when the kids were little, he changed diapers. Very much, I don't know what the word is for it, but anyway. And, I think women should have their own passion and their own thing, not be submissive and all that. So I wasn't quite agreeing with that particular church, but a friend invited me to a church here locally. I really liked it. It was a non-denominational. And then, and it was when I was working in corporate America. So I met my best friend and my husband at the same place, at the same company. And they say you were the average of the 5 people you spend the time with. So I was spending all my time there, right? So I met my husband and my best friend there. And she actually invited me to her church. And then I was doing some awareness for sex trafficking. And there was a meeting actually at that church for an organization that was inviting in nonprofits and churches to come in, part of a coalition. And so I got invited there twice, and I was like, okay, maybe I need to pay more attention to this place and check it out more. And so I just kept going back, and then we were baptized there and everything. So everything kind of, and that's where we go now. So
nice. And how many years ago did that shift for you?
So probably at least 2009, probably 2010, somewhere in there, 2011, somewhere in there. So it's been, it's crazy because I didn't really keep track of I don't keep track of a lot of things, but then there's okay, I got married and I was already in that church by the time I got married. The time we had our kids, we were already in that church. And so kind of that time frame there. So yeah, it was between 2008 and 2010, I would say.
And
2011.
how would you say that now because through this audience and this platform, we have so many different types of people coming through. This audience is very broad, and even through the audience that I'm bringing in with our speakers, right? We are all shades of color, all different life philosophies, experiences, cultures, belief systems. But at the end of the day, when you think about, what you believe in, it's really important for us to believe in something greater than ourselves. So when you started to believe in something greater than yourself, how would you say that your life really shifted, or your perspective shifted?
Well, I guess it just gave me a different lens. Like, I was thinking that some of those things that happened were just like my own doing, right? Like, I didn't really think about things like that. I didn't really have that lens to see those things through, that wonder to see things through. 22, right? Like, I didn't think about those things. I didn't, like, my daughter was born at 2:22 p.m. And she's a miracle. Like, I prayed for her for 2 years, right? I think it's funny that I prayed for her for 2 years and she was born at 2:22. But I think that's like, and just to realize that you have a miracle, like, it's a miracle to have a child. Some people can't have children. And like, all the things they teach us, they're such gifts. And then, just, I mean, divine appointment, whatever you want to call it. I mean, to be placed, even and just in the city I am, at the church I am, where I went to that first, in that place of work. Then I met my husband there, met my best friend there. And then she invited me to church, and I was already being called to that church from another group I was part of. And so it's just incredible to see. And then even now, the business I'm in, like, even that I feel like it's been on the path, but I didn't see the path along the way, like, that was getting me there, the steps that were happening, right? Like, I had to go through some things to now appreciate even more so where I'm at. I just had a call yesterday, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful for where I'm at. Like, I don't have to deal with this. Like, anyway, so I just feel like you go through things so that you appreciate what you have, and you see how God's glorified in those things. Because, I mean, when I was a kid, I did not like video cameras. So even the fact that I'm on here with you is a big deal. And I was pretty shy. So, I think there were some things in my life that happened and I went through. But then I am seeing that now with my daughter, right? Because her personality is very much like mine, the oldest. And I'm seeing how there's times when people say, oh, you need to be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. But I'm like, the more you keep telling her to be quiet, eventually that's going to keep her quiet. And, she's obviously has something to say.
Yeah.
And she can be a voice and can be a light. And, just because as a child doesn't mean they don't have good things to say or important things to say. So I've really been encouraging that. I mean, they record their own videos, like, on my phone and stuff. And then I've been recording a video the other day because she was doing some fundraising for school. And I recorded a video of her and I posted it because I'm like, I told my husband, I'm already teaching her how to be a public speaker now.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, her voice is important. And, they say public speaking is like one of the top, like, fears in the world of people. I'm like, it doesn't need to be.
Yeah. And it's one of the top paid industries in the world too. And
Yeah.
women are actually, we are definitely making waves on that platform, just because women have such a powerful voice. And for so long, we've been oppressed and we've been muted, right? And it's really important for us, especially in this time that we're living in today and moving forward, that we continue to live out loud and we continue to speak our truth and to continue to find, well, not necessarily find, because I feel like just existing is a higher purpose, right? But you continue to align with people that are, living that life every single day and that inspire you to step into that. Because everybody, although, we all have different backgrounds and different experiences, we are all a part of one body, and I like to say that we're all part of one body in Christ. This world is so large, yet there's 0 degrees of separation, but we all have a specific DNA code that we were brought to this earth to fulfill, a purpose that we were brought here to fulfill. So it's really your responsibility to uncover that each and every single day and to talk about it. You shouldn't, feel like you're muted, right? Like there's so many people that need to hear your story and to hear what you have to say in order for, every single person on this planet. It's like a domino effect, right? The more that you do it, the more that you're able to impact other people for them to do it and to speak their truth and to step into their higher purpose and calling. So how would you say, I mean, you've already talked about this a lot, but like, what would you say is a specific, daily routine maybe that you have that you continue to keep yourself not only connected to yourself, most importantly, but to your creator on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. So I have that Bible app. I do my Bible plan through there, and then just so I have something to go by. And then the Bible verse in my devotional, I then looked that up in the Bible. So I just try to keep it pretty basic.
Right.
And then praying, I have an app on my phone, Echo, that I just scroll through and pray. And then, just anybody that's on my heart, or anybody that, I've been thinking about, things like that. And then we have, like, I feel gratitude is important. I read the book, The Secret, and it talked about gratitude, or the magic. It talks about gratitude in there. So I had a daily practice of gratitude. I started with that and have continued on.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. There's also a scripture that I like to reference always. And every time that I have certain thoughts that maybe not, again, conducive to my overall well-being, I always think about life and death is in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. And that's a scripture that comes directly from the Bible. And, again, you don't have to be a believer, but I really encourage you and challenge you to open up the Word of God and to look at it more so as a reference, as a spiritual guide to enlightenment, right? Because all you really need is that one book to teach you some very valuable and powerful lessons to be able to live a life filled with power and purpose. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I even do affirmations, and they're based on Bible reference in the book. Because I was doing affirmations that were like of the world, not of the, like, I'm amazing, or I am whatever, right? And it wasn't like, I'm a child of God, I'm a masterpiece. And then I was like having these self-worth issues. Like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not, doing enough this, doing enough that. I'm not good enough. I'm not, all these things. And I'm like, what is the root cause of this? And I was like, I just need to go back to the basic. I don't know where I heard it or how I came to it, but I just started doing that, and it's helped so much.
Yes.
So much.
That's so beautiful. And, the more that you feed into yourself, the more you believe and the more that you're able to really encourage other people, because you cannot pour out from an empty vessel. And that really is your responsibility in order for you to feed into yourself, fuel yourself every single day with powerful words, with powerful intentions, with, the environments that you surround yourself with, and with people that are doing the same thing for themselves, right? Because every single person that you're interacting with is technically a mirror of you, right? So you want to definitely surround yourself with people that are going to fuel you with those powerful words, because we all need it. We all need to be fueled by not only ourselves, but by other people. Now, what words of wisdom would you give to those seeking a deeper understanding of themselves?
I would just say, I believe in you. Like, I believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself, if nobody else believes in you, I believe in you. I believe in your dreams. I believe in your hopes and your desires. If you have what it takes, like whatever gifts you've been given, we all have different ones. Rebecca has something different than I have. I have something different than Rebecca. We're not two of the same. Like, we're totally different people. Like you said, we have unique DNA codes. And so you have inside of you already. I was doing a call with someone the other day, and they're like, "Oh, do you have a degree in that?" And I said, no. but I have some of these life experiences that I can help people that have gone through some of the things I've gone through. And there's enough people out there for me to help that I feel like I'm drawn to those people every day. So it doesn't always require a degree at a school to help somebody do something. I feel like life experiences is the best experience.
Yes.
And, we have a calling and a purpose. And obviously the sooner you find that, the better. And it's going to, like it can completely change your life and other lives as well. But I feel like sometimes we're like put in a box as a society. Like you should do this, and this. These are the check marks. You go to school, you go to college, you get married, you have kids, you buy a house. And then it's like, oh, you also have $200,000 in debt. Like, what's like, and people cheer for you along the way, right? And then we have car loans and house loans and credit card debt, and we buy, things we can't afford, and we take vacations we can't afford. And so it's like living a life of freedom that you're able to pour. You said you're able to pour from a full cup versus an empty cup. Like you can give more when you create a more abundant life. And when you're more from the mindset too, right? Like when your life is a abundant mindset versus a scarcity mindset, you're able to do those things. They always say that, money just makes you more of who you already were. And so if you're a beautiful person inside, you're going to do beautiful things, the more abundant financially you are. And so I think that's some of the things that have, and that's another thing with me, like I'm all about giving. Like I do a volleyball tournament every year. It's been different causes this year. It's, these last 2 years have been the same cause. And, but the impact it's going to make, these last 2 years will impact about 4,000 people in Africa. And so, I'd never even met these people, these kids. I've seen videos and pictures and things like that, but I'm just so excited. That's like my dream, just to be able to go there in June, after I've raised the money for the well, and just be a part of that and hold the babies over there, just all of that, right? Just see a totally different life experience. My neighbors are from Africa. And so, 2 beautiful kids that play with my kids. We have a great time. And, I totally believe God put them right next to us, every day. And, she and I both like have similar beliefs, and, are raising our kids, to love people and not hate and all of that. So.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And the more that you pour out, the more that your cup is fueled. And there's just so many people that really need that. And we are all, at the end of the day, we're all called to be world servers. We're all way showers. We're all light workers. It's just that not everybody's light has been activated. And we are here to activate you, to help you see that you too have such a powerful gift, and that you just have to recognize that you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say that you are enough, and that you have what it takes to fulfill your life purpose before you transition out into whatever other dimension we go to whenever we transition from this planet we call Earth, and it's really important for us to live that out every single day, because again, we all have the capacity to really shift our perspective on what's happening. You can really change the lens on how you see the world. And there's just so much opportunity now, whether it is that you decide to work with Jessica, whether it is that you decide to work with me. And regardless of, if we're doing the exact same work, there's room for everybody to win, because this world is so large. And, you may not resonate with me. You may not resonate with Jessica. You may resonate with another person that I bring onto this platform, or another person that you meet along the way. So there's always room for everybody to shine. It's just that you have to believe that for yourself. And it's so important for us to continue to spread that message of love, positivity, and all things goodness. Jessica, I'm so excited, and I really appreciate you taking the time to, vibe with me today. Do you have any finishing statements that you'd like to add before we finish up this call?
Well, I'm so thankful for you too. This has been a blessing today, and you just bring such joy and laughter and fun and everything to people, and light. So just thank you for that. Thanks for holding the space to do this. I needed it today to fill my cup up. So I just appreciate it. Make my world a little bigger, when I'm inside, in a snow, whatever storm, I guess. So thanks again. It was a blessing. I look forward to hearing more from the people that are listening today. And if we can help you, whether it's me, Rebecca, or somebody else, like reach out, because, at the end of the day, like we're meant as humans to connect with people. We're not meant to be isolated. We're not meant to do things on our own. So ask for help, because I have a hard time asking for help myself. So just ask for help. There's so many people out there who are willing to help you and point you in the right direction if they can't help you. So just a blessing to be here, and live an abundant life. And always say, be happy, healthy, and kind. Like those are the 3 words I tell my kids every day. That, people really need to hear that. I think sometimes these days. I was ordering pizza the other night and they said, please, thank you for your patience and your kindness. I'm like, should we even have to be reminded, to be happy and kind to the people we're talking to even order pizza? Like, it's just an interesting time right now. And I feel like there is going to be, whether it's Rebecca or it's going to be, oh my gosh, my great grandma Rebecca, or my great grandma Jessica was an amazing woman, and she was spreading light into the world in such a time when it could be dark, but she chose to rise up, to be that person that shined a light when there was a lot of dim in the world. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. There's a song that I used to sing when I was a child, and it would brighten up my day. And it's so funny because now I'm really just reflecting back on how important it is to activate your inner child. And I've been singing this song a lot because I work with kids as well. And it goes a little like something like this. It goes, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, shine, shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. And it's so simple. It's so simple, but yet it really activates something in you. So when you start to feel a little dim inside, remember that you have a light within you that is so bright, and all you have to do is activate it and just let it shine. And don't ever let anybody dim that light for you, because God created you so perfectly and so divine. So if you have not, again, had an opportunity to go through this playlist, please take the time to do so. Check out www.aculturedsociety.com. Subscribe to the channel. And we look forward to connecting with you today and in the near future. May you continue to be blessed in everything that you do. Many blessings to you.